mightiest street anthems in drill history, never saw it coming. But what really happened in that parking lot? Who was the man behind the myth? Before we break down the tragic events of that October afternoon, we need to understand exactly who Da Vinci Collier was, the man fans and the streets knew as THF Zoo, Bay Zoo, or simply Big Boss Zoo. This wasn't just another rapper caught in Chicago's endless cycle of gunfire. Zoo had become a near-mythical figure in the drill community, a man whose very existence seemed to defy death until the day it finally caught up to him. Born on September 26, 1990, Zoo came up in one of Chicago's most dangerous environments, the infamous Cabrini Green housing projects. That place wasn't just home, it was his classroom, his playground, and his battlefield all rolled into one. For those unfamiliar, Cabrini Green wasn't just rough, it was a war zone. A place where fear was routine, violence was law, and childhood innocence rarely made it past adolescence.
I was born in the Greens, I grew up in the Greens, you know what I'm saying? I got a name out there too, like, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to get in the field, but I was just doing bad shit. Little baby kid shit, you feel me? I came southbound when I was like mid-teens. My OG always been out south, so I've been knowing all my brothers that's from out south since I was a puppy, you feel me? My grandma still stayed up north. And my OG moved southbound when they knocked out.
The streets didn't show young Da Vinci mercy, but they did teach him lessons early. By his own admission, he developed what he once called a passion for crime before he even hit his teens. This was a kid firing BB guns at taxi drivers, hurling rocks at passing cars, and setting stray dogs free from cages just to see what would happen. To outsiders, it looked like chaos. But for Zoo, it was survival training disguised as rebellion, a reflection of the unforgiving environment that molded him long before he could understand it.
Shooting taxi cab drivers with BB guns, throwing rocks, going in the stove, snatching shit, running up out of them. I was bad as hell on the shorty. Man, so much shit I can't even think of. Like, I was just doing all bad shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, the little dog catching trucks and shit when they be grabbing the little stray dogs and shit. I used to, you know, they got a little community in the Greens with the dogs, and I used to be letting the dogs out the bike when I was a shorty, man. Bad as hell, like unlocking the little dog cage, letting their ass hop out the truck, chasing them down the street, shit. I was just bad as hell.
Then came the moment that shattered everything. On May 24th, 2011, Zoo's life changed forever when his older brother, Gouda, was killed in a tragic accident. A gun went off inside their home, striking him in the head. Zoo was only 21. In later interviews, he described the haunting reality of what came next, a moment no one should ever have to live through. It was raw, painful, and unforgettable.
You know, he was in the house, the gun accidentally went off and shot him in the head or whatever, you know what I'm saying? That's how he passed away. So like, wasn't nobody in my family as far as the immediate family who was strong enough to bathe them and wash them up and get them prepared for the services or whatever.
That trauma would become a defining scar on Zoo's soul, one he carried into every chapter that followed. He admitted that even years later, he had never properly mourned. He stayed strong for his family, but never for himself. That bottled-up pain eventually surfaced through addiction and self-destruction, as Zoo turned to substances to cope with the weight of his grief. His criminal record began shockingly early. At just 13 years old, he was arrested for armed robbery in Cairo, Illinois, and sentenced to 4.5 years in juvenile detention facilities like Harrisburg. But that was only the start. Over his lifetime, Zoo would spend more than 12 years behind bars across various stints, most of them short county jail terms for gun-related and violent offenses.
Maybe more, maybe less, bro. Like, I spent a lot of time, man. I've been going to jail since a juvenile, since I was 13, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I try to do the math myself, like just putting all the time together, the real bids and shit. It's like 12 out of my life, shit, then half of my life, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? I ain't get a chance to experience life for real till I turned like 12, 13, so like, hell yeah, I stayed in trouble as a shorty, man. That's all, I stayed in some shit, bro, like. My background shot like a motherfucker, but like as far as being convicted, I ain't got no deep convictions, you know what I'm saying? I got two gun convictions. Both of them unconstitutional though right now.
Here's where Zoo's story becomes both legendary and tragic. Despite a long record filled with serious charges, Zoo beat multiple cases, including murders, attempted murders, and armed robberies. He built a reputation for knowing the system, bragging that he beat cases by picking juries and going to trial, not by snitching or getting lucky on technicalities. The most infamous of those cases came in 2014, when Zoo was arrested at Lil Durk's home and charged in connection with a 2009 murder. The charge? First-degree murder. But by 2018, after years of fighting the system, he walked free, and the experience inspired one of his most talked-about tracks, solidifying his status as both survivor and symbol in Chicago's drill mythology.
You know, I beat my body January 2018, and Vaughn beat this shit a month after. And Durk flew us down here, you feel me, took us shopping and shit. And I said it on my no jump interview, you know, we was just really just in the basement. on Durk Live, we set a live up there, and they was like, damn, you Zoo and Von just beat they murder one apart from each other. Y'all should do a song. And Buka and Ike was playing with a motherfucker like, man, y'all ass ain't no shit. Ooh, they telling y'all ass to rap. And Von ass like, man, shit, call the engineer. So they called the engineer, you know what I'm saying? Man, Von just let bitches playing. We ain't even write that beat about it. We just going back and forth, and that ended up being one of my...
Beat That Body, featuring King Von, became a street anthem, but it also carried consequences that would shadow Zoo for years. The track, widely interpreted as a boast about beating a murder charge, only amplified his legend in the streets, and in turn, drew more heat from law enforcement. Zoo himself admitted that after the song dropped, police attention intensified. They saw it not as art, but as provocation, a man publicly celebrating his ability to outsmart the system. His identity was inseparable from his ties to THF, short for Trigger Happy Family or Tay-Town Hustlers Family, a crew that began with the Gangster Disciples before aligning with the Black Disciples in the 2000s. Operating primarily out of Chicago's Kenwood and Bronzeville neighborhoods, especially around 46th Street, THF had a reputation for aggression and fearless retaliation. Their most notorious feud, against 051 Young Money, a faction affiliated with the Mickey Cobras, is considered one of the bloodiest in Chicago's drill history. Unverified reports suggest that the conflict has claimed over 100 lives since its origins in a 2008 McDonald's shootout. Zoo's name surfaced often in that violent narrative, earning him the nickname Top Shooter. Though he later tried to distance himself from that label, it clung to him like a shadow he couldn't outrun. Yet Zoo wasn't just a feared street figure. He was also an artist fighting to build a future beyond the chaos. His music career began gaining real traction in the early 2020s through his close connection with Lil Durk and the Only the Family collective. Zoo and Durk had known each other since 2008, their bond forged through shared trials, literally and figuratively. While Zoo's discography wasn't vast, it was impactful. He focused on singles and collaborations more than full projects, but his numbers spoke for themselves. Do It for Von, a tribute to his late friend King Von, surpassed 4 million Spotify streams. Mad Cause I'm Rich topped 1.1 million, and Get Backers with Boona neared 900,000. His connection with King Von was more than musical. It was brotherly. The two met around 2012, bonding during separate incarcerations, and Zoo often said Von's vivid storytelling reminded him of Slick Rick, crediting him as a major influence in his own decision to rap. Von's death in November 2020 devastated him. By October 2025, Zoo had built a loyal following, over 180,000 Instagram followers and 35,000 monthly Spotify listeners, and had just dropped his 2023 project FO6. His latest single, Murder Story, was gaining traction online, racking up hundreds of thousands of views despite minimal promotion. Still, success couldn't save him from the streets he was born into. Despite his talk of peace and redemption, Zoo remained tethered to the same violence he was trying to escape. In interviews, he spoke passionately about wanting to move his 7 children out of Chicago, about starting community programs, youth baseball teams, boxing leagues, to keep kids away from gangs and guns. He wanted better, but he also admitted how hard it was to escape a legacy built on fear and respect, to reinvent himself when his reputation followed him everywhere he went. By October 2025, Da Vinci Collier had become a walking contradiction, a father, an artist, and a survivor who had outlasted nearly everyone around him. A man who dreamed of peace while still carrying the ghosts of war. Someone desperate to break a cycle he once helped spin. And then came October 26, 2025. What began as an ordinary Saturday afternoon in Chicago, cool, calm, and uneventful, would turn into a nightmare. Around 3 p.m., in a parking lot near the 3100 block of South St. Louis Avenue in Little Village, the quiet would shatter. The day that started like any other was about to end in blood. On that quiet October afternoon, THF Zoo found himself in a parking lot alongside 2 men, one 39, the other 42. No one's entirely sure why they were there. Some say they'd stopped to grab car parts. Others claim they were simply hanging out, killing time. Whatever the reason, it was supposed to be an ordinary stop. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing dangerous. The location itself couldn't have looked less threatening. A small public lot tucked near La Valita Park, surrounded by modest homes and families enjoying their Saturday. But in a city where peace can flip to chaos in seconds, normalcy can be deceptive. At around 3 p.m., an unidentified car rolled into the lot. What followed was not random. It was organized, deliberate, the kind of ambush that speaks of planning, not impulse. Witnesses say armed men stepped out and opened fire in a storm of bullets that shattered the calm. Police later marked 39 shell casings on the pavement, 20 from rifles, 19 from handguns, a clear sign of coordination and heavy weaponry. By the time the echoes faded, 5 vehicles had been riddled with bullets, glass scattered like glitter across the asphalt. This wasn't a drive-by gone wrong. It was an execution-style assault, fast, precise, and meant to send a message.
Hey, yo.
I just for the air, John 464987, 464987, event 0764807648.
Damn, I mean, they got his ass.
64.
Go ahead.
The vehicle looks like it may be a Honda Accord, newer model, like 2020. And the both shooters jumped in the passenger in the rear, one in the passenger, so there possibly at least 3 heads in the car.
When the smoke cleared, all 3 men lay injured on the ground, victims of an attack that lasted mere seconds. The 39-year-old was struck in the ankle. The 42-year-old took rounds to his arm, back, and lower body. Both were lucky they'd lived to tell the story. But Da Vinci THF Zoo Collier wasn't so fortunate. He had been hit multiple times in the torso, devastating wounds that left little chance for survival. Paramedics rushed him and the others to Mount Sinai Hospital, where Zoo arrived in critical condition. Doctors fought to stabilize him, but the damage was too severe. After years of escaping death, surviving shootouts, cases, and street wars, fate finally caught up. By evening, word spread that Zoo had passed away. The 35-year-old rapper, known for his resilience and uncanny ability to survive what others couldn't, was gone. His death sent shockwaves through the drill community, through Chicago's South Side, and across social media timelines that had once celebrated his songs. And then came something even more chilling: the footage. Within hours, a grainy surveillance clip from the parking lot began circulating online. No sound, no commentary, just raw, silent violence. At first glance, it looks harmless: a few people standing near cars, laughing, talking. But then, 2 figures appear at the edge of the frame, one wearing a light-colored hoodie, the other dressed dark. They approach calmly, almost casually, until the unthinkable happens. Muzzle flashes burst across the screen. People scatter. Bodies drop. The shooters vanish as quickly as they appeared. The video, though brief, contradicted parts of the official police report. Authorities described the attackers arriving in a vehicle, yet the footage clearly showed them on foot. That inconsistency raised questions. Was the police account incomplete? Were there multiple angles the public hadn't seen? Or was the viral clip only part of a much larger story? Adding to the mystery was where it happened. The little village area isn't known as THF territory. It sits deep in predominantly Latino neighborhoods, far from Zoo's usual stomping grounds. To many familiar with Chicago's intricate gang landscape, the setting alone suggested something more deliberate. Maybe a setup, maybe a betrayal, or maybe a hit carefully planned to catch him far from home. The little village neighborhood, mostly Latino and far removed from THF's Southside strongholds in Bronzeville and Kenwood, was the last place anyone expected Zoo to be. That detail alone set off alarm bells. For many, it didn't feel random at all. It felt calculated. Someone had known where he'd be, tracked him, and chosen that moment to strike. The daylight timing made it even more brazen. A broad daylight hit in a public lot at 3 p.m., surrounded by homes, families, and cameras, spoke either to the shooters' reckless confidence or their desperation. Whoever pulled the trigger wasn't worried about getting caught. They just wanted Zoo gone. As word of the shooting spread through Chicago's underworld and across social media, speculation erupted almost instantly. Given Zoo's past and the web of street feud surrounding him, theories were inevitable. Some claimed it was yet another chapter in the THF versus 051 Young Money war, a bloody back and forth that's taken dozens of lives over more than a decade. Others whispered about new attentions involving THF TP's 2024 death, a killing many believe ties back to Bashville Crazy, a rival Black Disciple subset.
We don't know who this can be and who might can be, because the nigga be into it with so many people, you know what I'm talking about? There's so many people, you know what I'm talking about? That's why it's not good to diss, because if you out here dissing, my nigga, you know what I'm talking about? You don't know where that body come from. You know what I'm talking about? If you out here dissing, bro, you might as well chuck yourself on the rock, have yourself in the crib, look at some top flight security or something.
Rumors began weaving their own narrative online. Unverified street reports, shared across Reddit threads and group chats, outlined a grim cycle of revenge. According to those accounts, THF-TP was murdered in February 2024, allegedly by a man affiliated with Bashville Crazy. That same man was reportedly killed just a few months later, in June, sparking retaliation. Zoo's October 2025 shooting, some suggested, was Bashville's way of closing the scorecard. None of these claims have been officially confirmed. They remain street talk, passed through whispers, screenshots, and speculation. But in a city where revenge often fuels the rhythm of violence, people didn't dismiss the theory easily. Even the timing of Zoo's death seemed like fate mocking him. November 5th, just days away, marked the anniversary of his 2014 murder arrest, the same case he famously beat 4 years later. To some, it felt symbolic, as if the ghosts of his past had finally come to collect. In Chicago's streets, the cycle rarely ends cleanly. The same forces that once glorified Zoo's resilience now mourned his fall. The impact was immediate. Within minutes, Zoo's name trended across platforms: Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, sending shockwaves through the drill scene. The reactions mirrored Zoo's own duality: half grief, half grim acceptance. Those who truly knew him were devastated. OTF Duty Low, one of Zoo's closest brothers in arms, poured his heart out in a tribute post that broke through the internet noise. He called Zoo "my big brother," the man who had stood by him during his own shooting recovery, and vowed, "I got your kids for life." It wasn't just sentiment. It was a promise, a reflection of the family code that runs deep in OTF and THF: loyalty doesn't end at death. His words hit hard. Behind the image of gangsters and rappers were fathers, sons, brothers, people carrying the real weight of loss. THF Rome, another affiliate, voiced what many were feeling: exhaustion. He spoke on how normalized death had become in their city, how people scroll past tragedy as if it's content instead of pain. His frustration captured a cruel truth about Chicago's drill culture: violence had become background noise. And then came the unexpected. Even Billionaire Black, from FBG, a rival faction historically at odds with THF, posted a message of respect, calling Zoo a real one and offering prayers to his family. That gesture of empathy, coming from the opposite side of the war, underscored something rare: that even in a city divided by decades of bloodshed, there's still space for humanity. Across social platforms, fans reacted in disbelief. On X, formerly Twitter, timelines flooded with short, stunned posts: "RIP Bay Zoo," "Not Zoo, man," repeated thousands of times. Others used a moment to ask the painful question that never seems to have an answer: why does this keep happening in Chicago? One viral comment summed up the collective heartbreak: "Zoo gone, and Durk sitting in a cell, this can't be real." The tragedy hit harder knowing Lil Durk, the face of OTF, was behind bars on federal murder-for-hire charges, facing what could be a lifetime sentence. His closest brother on the outside had just been killed, the kind of cruel irony that defined the OTF legacy in recent years. But the response online wasn't all mourning. In darker corners of the internet, particularly on Reddit's Archiricology, rival affiliates celebrated the news with mockery and glee. Screenshots of Instagram stories spread quickly, captioned with sarcastic phrases like "Toast to Zoo" and "add another one to the list," followed by rows of laughing emojis. Comment threads filled with taunts and twisted humor. "He beat bodies for years. Nobody thought he'd actually get touched," one user wrote. Another added, "Shows how bad Zoo hurt the city. Look at how many cheering." It was a grim snapshot of Chicago's culture of retaliation, where even death becomes entertainment. One comment stood out among the noise: 20 different sets claiming the hit. That's wild. It was a chilling reminder of just how many enemies Zoo had accumulated over the years. Whether the stories of his involvement in past shootings were real or exaggerated hardly mattered anymore. His name alone carried a legend that demanded payback. To rivals, his death wasn't a tragedy, it was closure. Another viral remark mocked him cruelly: "Why he ain't up his pipe?" taunting Zoo for not returning fire during the ambush. In Chicago's unforgiving street culture, even being caught off guard becomes a reason for ridicule. Death doesn't earn sympathy, it's judged like a scoreboard. Contrary to early rumors, O-Block, home of the late King Von, wasn't involved in the mockery. O-Block and THF-OTF shared black disciple ties, meaning Zoo's allies were grieving, not celebrating. The trolling mainly came from 051 Young Money supporters and other longtime opposition factions. It underscored the same pattern that has plagued Chicago's gang map for years: a tangle of alliances, betrayals, and feuds so deep that even tragedy can't cut through the hatred. One voice was missing in the chaos that followed: Lil Durk's. Still confined in federal custody on murder-for-hire charges, and staring down a possible life sentence without parole, Durk had no way to respond publicly to the death of his longtime friend. Yet reports from those close to him claimed the news hit harder than anything he'd faced before. Word spread that Durk broke down after hearing that THF Zoo, his brother-in-arms since 2008, was gone. For Durk, it was another devastating chapter in a string of losses. King Von, Dethang, and now Zoo, all gone while he sat behind bars, fighting for his own life. One viral post captured the grim reality in a single line: Von dead, Dethang dead, Zoo dead, Durk facing life, OTF over. That statement reflected what many were already thinking: that the once unstoppable empire Durk built might not survive the mounting deaths and legal destruction. The label had been struggling to recover since Von's murder in 2020, its energy dimmed by grief and street pressure. Now, with its leader locked up and one of its most loyal soldiers killed, OTF's future looked more uncertain than ever. Some observers saw it as tragic inevitability, the unavoidable outcome of a culture where loyalty and violence are intertwined, and where fame never truly frees anyone from the streets that made them. But beneath the headlines and online debates were the people left behind. Zoo's 7 children are now forced to grow up without their father, to face birthdays and graduations marked by absence, and to live in a world where his death is forever replayed online. They'll see strangers dissect his legacy, some mourning him, others mocking him, while trying to piece together who he really was. The emotional weight of losing a parent is already immense. Having that loss turned into public content only deepens the wound. Ironically, Zoo had spoken in interviews about wanting to change his trajectory. He dreamed of moving his family out of Chicago, of giving his kids a safer life far from the cycle that consumed so many around him. He admitted the toll of his past, acknowledging that he couldn't fully escape it, but still hoped to guide the next generation away from it. His words now read like a haunting prophecy, a man who saw the storm coming but couldn't step out of its path in time.
I just want to change a few people, man. You get what I'm saying? Like, I ain't trying to knock no for what they doing or how they coming on their blocks, and I really don't get no if it don't concern me or my people, you feel me? But the streets gonna be the streets anyway, bro. I just really want to just, with the youth from 7 to 12, man, and just try to change their mind and give them a reason so they won't be easily influenced into the streets, you know what I'm saying? Give them something to do that they ain't had no chance to do, you know what I'm saying? Because we had a lot of shit to do with these kids, you feel me? You don't see little 8, 9, 10-year-olds around this motherfucker riding bikes with pags and stunners on them and shit with mag wheels, you feel me? Shit, that the little fun shit we did. 9-year-old probably shoot the shit out of another 9-year-old over the bike. This generation different, gang. Like,
the tragedy of THF Zoo lies in the cruel paradox of his life. He could see the cycle clearly, speak on it with brutal honesty, and still couldn't break free from it. He was bound by reputation, by loyalty, and by the same raw authenticity that made people connect to his music in the first place. To truly escape the streets would have meant letting go of everything that had defined him: his name, his circle, his respect. And in the world he came from, that kind of freedom often comes at the highest price.